Hello everyone. In this video, we will be talking about the process of allocating direct resources like material, equipment, manpower, subcontractor in order to get the actual cost for these resources and prepare the monthly report. We are going to start with the allocation for manpower and equipment. In the first place, we need to prepare a resource dictionary. Resource dictionary has the resource categories available in the project, like equipment and manpower. This sheet will include the resource type, resource ID, resource name, and the rate per hour for these resources. The next step is to have a list of all the resources available in the project. And this information, we can get it from the timekeeper. This sheet have to include the resource type, whether it is equipment or labor, and resource company ID, resource name, resource ID name, and resource ID. Once we have this information, we can go to the resource allocation. Normally, the resource allocation is prepared by the site team. The resource allocation have to provide us data about the resources available and allocated on the project and their times or the amount of time these resources worked for the project and in which item they were working, like the cost code. This sheet includes the resource ID. Once we have the resource ID inserted in this column, the information related to this resource will be called from the resource database, like the resource name, resource ID name, and resource ID. The working hours, how many hours this resource worked in the project, have to be inserted by the construction team. Also, the pay item or the cost code. In our case here, we have pay item, we have cost code for the pay item, and we have cost code for the sub-pay item. The cost code for the pay item here meant to be the item in the BOQ. And the sub-pay item is like when we are preparing the budget, we are starting with the BOQ items and breaking down these items into sub-pay item. Like an example, if we have excavation item, this item in the BOQ is like one item, excavation. But when we start preparing the budget, we will break down this item further into sub-pay items. Like we have cutting for excavation, we will start with cutting the soil. After that, we need to transport this material to a stockpile. After that, we have maintenance for this stockpile. So we have like 3 sub-pay items come under the pay item. So once here we insert the pay item, we will be requested to insert the sub-pay item in which the resource was allocated. After that, the construction team have to provide us the productivity and the quantity was executed by this resource during that time. And later on, we will see why we need the productivity. After this sheet was prepared, these data will be transferred to the direct equipment allocation. In this sheet, we have each resource category worked in this period and the amount of these resources and in which cost code they were working. And here we have the unit rate for each resource category and the amount or cost for these resources. The same for direct manpower. We have the resource category, whether it is labor, technician, helper, electrician, plumber, or any other category, how many hours they spent on the project, and the sub-item code, unit rate for the resource, and the cost or amount for these resources. This data called from the resource allocation by formula sum fs, okay, which need two parameters to be able to call the data from the resource allocation. We need the category and we need the sub-item. So this is for the direct equipment and direct manpower. Moving to the subcontractor. For the subcontractor, we need to list all items for the subcontractor in his agreement or in his BO, all items, like we have the cost code for the item, description, cost code for the sub-item and the description, and the item description, and we need the subcontractor agreement. We need the quantity, unit price, and amount for each item. After that, it is the responsibility for the technical team to provide us the quantity executed for each item by the subcontractor each period. We need the information. Like if we are preparing the monthly report, so in a monthly basis, we need this information to be provided by the technical team. This information, for sure, it's available in the subcontractor invoices. But what if we don't have a subcontractor invoice issued at the end of the month? In this case, the technical team have to provide us with accrual invoice. Okay, so this for the subcontractor allocation. Moving to the last cost element, which is the material. When it comes to the material, once the material delivered to the store, the construction team, they will need to get the material from the store to site to start their work. They cannot get material from the store until they submit request. This request include, this is the request, material issuance request. They need to provide some information like the department, who's the requester, requesting the material, the date. They need to get the project control approval. They need to get the project manager approval, and they need to mention the cost code in which this material will be used, and the description, material code, and the description, quantity requested, and the unit. All these information will be transferred to the material allocation by the storekeeper. End of each month, the storekeeper have to provide us with the allocation for material. He have to provide us with the MIR number, MIR date, material code, material description, unit, the requested or issued quantity, unit price, total price, and the sub-item code in which this material will be used. So we have been through the allocation for the major four direct cost elements, and in the next video we will see how we are gonna use this allocation to prepare the monthly report. Thank you so much.